next 90 minutes. So I'm so excited to be here, MWC Barcelona, the most influenced global event to connectivity industries like yourselves. So now, and here also, the network will be open. Everyone talk about network will be open. So the mobile network is no exception. So at the beginning of the 5G service, O-RAN has been in the market for some time now. So now reconfirm what is the true advantage making the radio network open. So how can we maximize advantage? And are we seeing tackle some challenges? How do we solve those problems? So you may have a lot of questions. We are here to answer those questions. I'm honored to be joining the partners, partners and the most experienced and advanced operators, Dish-san and Docomo-san, and the partners, NVIDIA here, who building the O-RAN, Open RAN. So who willing to share their experience and the know-how. So I would like to first speakers, Mr. Tani from NTT Docomo, a top runner deployment of the O-RAN. And the Tani-san will join from Japan today. So Tani-san, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's join me. Welcome to Tani-san.
Okay, so Mizun-san, thank you very much for your very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Naoki Tani, and I'm Chief Technology Officer at NTT Docomo. I'm currently, as Mizun-san mentioned, in Tokyo, Japan, and I'd like to express my deepest gratitude and great pleasure for this opportunity to participate in and make a presentation at the partner event hosted by Fujitsu. Now, I'd like to explain Docomo's initiative related to 5G and Open RAN. First, let me briefly introduce the current 5G situation in Docomo. Docomo launched 5G services in March 2020, about 2 years ago. We are actively expanding our 5G coverage area by leveraging the 3 newly allocated frequencies, which is 3.7, 4.5, 28 for 5G, and already operate over 13,000 base stations. Docomo has, and also Docomo has currently more than 10 million 5G subscribers, which is more than 10% of all Docomo's subscribers. In addition, in order to expand use cases utilizing the high capabilities of 5G, collaboration with partners in various industries is very, very important. Therefore, we have been promoting the 5G Open Partner Program since about 4 years ago, and already about 5,000 partners have participated. As a result of collaboration with partners, 5G solutions for enterprises are expanding significantly. Solutions range from video to XR to robotics to mobility. So what are the most common areas of commercial solutions at Docomo? The answer is shown on the right side of this slide. About 70% solutions related to XR and video, which is taking advantage of one of the great capabilities of 5G, which is high speed and high capacity. Looking at the situation, we can fully expect that the use cases of 5G will expand as 5G capabilities advances further in the future. So why are there so many different use cases at Docomo? I think there are three main reasons. First, through the 5G open partner program, which I explained, we have developed use cases together with many partners. Second, we have provided a 5G environment that is easy for partners to utilize. And third, Docomo has adopted Open RAN as a technology to support these from the start of the 5G. So why is Open RAN important? 5G is expected to evolve significantly as a foundation for all industries to provide new added value and to solve social issues. To this end, 5G must be capable of responding flexibly and quickly to the needs of various industries. In other words, as a mobile telecommunication operator, we must quickly and efficiently build networks that best meet the needs of our customers and partners. In such an environment, by utilizing Open RAN, mobile telecommunication operators can build an unprecedented optimal network by adopting a variety of equipment, which is optimal for each installation environment, frequency, and coverage, or vendors with very strong characteristics, such as low power consumption. In fact, Docomo now can use 15 types of radio equipment, radio units from 4 different vendors. So Docomo can quickly build an optimal network for our environment. Now, let's take a look at Docomo's efforts to put Open RAN into practical use. First, the O-RAN Alliance. The O-RAN Alliance was established about 4 years ago to open up radio access networks. Docomo was one of the founding members, and also I am currently one of the board members of the Alliance. The number of participating companies has also increased significantly in recent years, as shown on the right side of this slide. Most recently, 31 operators and more than 320 or 320 contributors participated. Now, let's take a look at how Open RAN actually operates in Docomo. This slide shows the configuration of the Docomo radio access network with radio unit on the left side and CUDU on the right side. The top half shows the 5G RAN, and the bottom half shows the 4G RAN. The interface between the radio unit and the CUDU is defined as shown as a front hall, which is defined by O-RAN Alliance, and Docomo's 5G RAN conforms to the open interface specified by the Open O-RAN Alliance. As a result, various equipment complying with the interface specified the ORAN Alliance can be connected to each other, even between different vendors. So Fujitsu enables quick construction of an optimal network that meets the environment and requirements. At the beginning, I explained the current status of Docomo. Docomo has utilized 3 new frequencies for 5G. And also, already, we more than 13,000 base stations are operating in an environment that conforms to the open interface defined by the ORAN Alliance. Docomo has been building networks in a multi-vendor environment since the 4G era by regulating front fall since the 4G era. The know-how to enable multi-vendor connectivity gained from such achievement and experience is also being fed back to the activities of the ORAN Alliance. Fujitsu, the organizer of today's event, has contributed greatly to the Open RAN initiative. Thank you very much. At the beginning, I mentioned that we started the 5G services 2 years ago. Current 5G CUDU utilize existing dedicated equipment in order to satisfy the capabilities and quality necessary for Docomo to construct 5G network at that time. Recently, technological advances are making it possible to realize high performance VRAN, virtualized radio access network, or virtualized CUDU. VRAN that can be utilized in large-scale networks. Therefore, we plan to introduce VRAN as the next step, and we are also preparing to introduce RIC, Radio Intelligent Controller, with VRAN. The important point here is that the front fall is based on an open interface, as I mentioned, so which enables not only the introduction of new radio unit shown in the right side, but also the rapid introduction of the new CUDU. So now let me quickly review the benefits of VRAN. As you are probably familiar with, and as you will find in the white paper I will share later. Here are 3 quick points. First, software and hardware can be separated so that the optimal combination of RAN can be built. By utilizing COTS as hardware, we can expect to reduce CapEx, OpEx, and improve flexible performance by utilizing the latest hardware. Second, by combining virtualization with RIC, Radio Intelligent Controller, you can expect simple and intelligent operations. Third, infrastructure and operations can be shared not only in radio access network, but also in various environments, including core network. Yes. So, one of the key technologies promoting Open RAN is the intelligent RAN intelligent controller, or RIC, which, yes, the RAN environment can be optimized by analyzing control logs and measurement data collected from base stations and terminals using artificial intelligence, AI technologies, and dynamically changing the control and setting performed by base station based on the analysis results. This will further improve communication quality and reduce operating costs for telecommunication operators. So now let's take a look at concept video that introduces Open RAN.
Experience an Open RAN with Docomo, where innovations that connect the world on a global scale occur. The Open RAN world. This is a world in which you can connect with anyone at any time from anywhere. A world that makes possible what was previously thought to be impossible. For example, through enabling surgical procedures from remote locations, providing education to children in remote areas who want to study, and quickly recovering from network communication interruptions in case of a disaster. To create innovation that will connect such people, Docomo has taken the lead in developing an Open RAN. Docomo has been promoting this Open RAN, and in March 2020, as a world first, launched a 5G service on a nationwide scale using the Open RAN. By March of this year, we will have 20,000 5G base stations. Multi-vendor connections are realized by opening the radio access network. The potential is limitless. In other words, multiple vendors connect innovators all over the world, allowing for the development of a first-of-its-kind solution. Therefore, as a forerunner in the field of multi-vendor networks, we have established the O-RAN Alliance, which provides a standardized interface. The current Docomo 5G network is constructed of an open network that conforms to the O-RAN specifications, providing services and making participation for new vendors easy. To further promote Open RAN, Docomo has teamed up with 13 global vendors on the 5G Open RAN ecosystem, also known as OREC. OREC uses Docomo's technology, which combines devices from multiple vendors. By fusing rather than connecting the strengths of multiple global vendors, OREC aims to realize a more flexible, extensible network than previously seen. We will begin commercializing virtualized base stations in FY 2022 and take responsibility for all aspects of the provisioning, from installation to operation. We are currently conducting verification tests on the virtualized base station vRAN that we are developing to ensure that stable communication can be achieved between multiple vendors. Furthermore, in the Docomo labs, we are harnessing the strengths of each company to create a wonderful synergy. We will provide our global operators with products utilizing optimized combinations. This is made possible through multi-vendor integration. The connected world is becoming the norm. The future that people hope for lies beyond the open network realized through technology developed by Docomo over many years. A future in which networks can be connected quickly in remote natural areas and densely populated urban areas. This is a future in which hopes and dreams can be realized in all kinds of fields, including education, healthcare, disaster prevention, agriculture, and construction. Docomo is joining with you all to build the future. Changing worlds with you. NTT Docomo.
So, how was it? Can you enjoy the video? In the video, 5G Open RAN ecosystem, which is OREC, was introduced. Now, I will explain mainly this initiative. Before the video, I mentioned that Docomo is preparing for vRAN. Almost 1 year ago, Docomo took the initiative in establishing OREC to accelerate the development of vRAN and to make it available not only to Docomo, but also to overseas global telecommunications operators. With the cooperation of partners promoting Open RAN, 13 companies, including Fujitsu, are currently participating in this initiative. As I mentioned earlier, the O-RAN Alliance was established 4 years ago. And 2 years later, Docomo started 5G services using Open RAN. And 1 year later, OREC was launched, which is February 2021. And this week, 1 year later, the VLAN environment built in Docomo's lab in Japan is now accessible from overseas, outside Japan. You can see that it is already, you can see that it is steadily evolving every year. Here, we review our efforts over the past year since the establishment of OREC. After extensive discussion with the participating partners following the establishment of OREC, we published the 5G Open RAN ecosystem white paper in June last year, which is 4 months later after establishing OREC. This document describes the benefits of Open RAN, including VLAN, as well as potential challenges and solutions. As mentioned earlier, Docomo is operating 5G RAN equipment conforming to the open interface, and more than 13,000 base stations, which will be 20,000 by the end of this month, are already in operation. This white paper is based on such achievements and experiences. We have also set specific performance targets in terms of capacity, throughput, and power consumption. You can search from this QR code, so please take a look at. 4 months later, again, in October of last year, VLAN verification equipment began operating at Docomo's laboratory in Japan. This slide shows one example of one of the multiple types of VLAN equipment. It's a configuration in which Fujitsu provides software and codes, and NVIDIA's accelerator and WindRiver's virtualization infrastructure are combined. We have been conducting performance evaluation since last October. So, 4 months later, this week, we opened OREC Shared Open Lab. The VLAN environment, which has been verified in Japan, can be accessed remotely from outside Japan overseas, and evaluation can be made according to the environment of the operator who wants to introduce it. This allows you to experience our working VLAN. Various evaluations, including throughput verification, can be made after selecting hardware and software. By using this OREC shared lab with Docomo support, mobile communication operators, global mobile communication operators can significantly reduce the cost and the time required for validation and integration, and gain the know-how to implement Open RAN. Also, this week, Docomo opened a new site for Open RAN. This QR code allows you to access this site. On this site, you can view a wide variety of content, including concept movies that showcase the innovation that the Open RAN begins, an overview of Open RAN and its benefits, and an overview of OREC and shared Open RAN. You can also find the white paper introduced earlier. As you can see, the progress we have made over the past year since launching OREC has been tremendous. This is thanks to the great collaboration of our partners in OREC, including, of course, Fujitsu, and we would like to thank them again. As mentioned above, the world of Open RAN is taking off. As I said at the beginning, 5G is expected to evolve as the foundation for all industries, and Open RAN is essential for its realization. I look forward to working with you today to expand the world of Open RAN. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Very nice.
Good morning. My name is Femi Adeyemi. I head wireless business for Fujitsu. It's a pleasure to have every one of you. Please put your hands together for Docomo. Very impressive. Thank you. So, you've heard about the geographical adoption of Open RAN, Japan, Europe, and now North America, and then the rest of the world as well. You've heard about greenfield and brownfield. You've heard about the new economics that is going on, new entrants that are coming in. And so this morning, I'm happy to have a panel of expertise, of experts, by the way, that will help us to unpack the reality that we're seeing with Open RAN. Okay? So join me as I welcome to the podium about 4 people that will help us to understand that a little bit more. First, from Dish Network, Mark Ruan. Please keep your hands together for him. Please welcome him. Mark. You're welcome. Also, from Docomo, Entity Docomo, by remote, Sadayuki Abeta-san. Please put your hands together for him as well. He will be joining us remotely. From NVIDIA, I also welcome Ronnie Vashista. Welcome, Ronnie. And finally, Mizuno-san from Fujitsu. Please, welcome. So gentlemen, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation as our partner to join us this morning. So, Mark, to you first. There's been a lot of controversy about Open RAN. Is it real? Is it a myth? So my first question to you is, what is the extent of your cloud-based, the first cloud-based Open RAN network that is now being developed? So please give us a little bit of insight into where you are.
Yeah, so...
Can you turn on his mic?
Hello?
We want to hear from him.
Can you hear me?
Yes, he's on now. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so we are deploying our network at scale across the US. We are, we like to say the numbers are not precise, but 1,000 plus sites per month. We've been doing that for months now. And it's pure Open RAN. So we have the Fujitsu radios on top of the mast, and at the bottom of the tower, it's pure Open RAN and pure cloud. So everything is on Kubernetes, everything is on data center processors at the bottom of the tower. And apart from the Fujitsu radios, everything we buy from the telco industry is pure software. And we've been very strict that everything had to be fully containerized and microservice based, which was a challenge at the beginning because everybody was coming with their classic software, and
yes.
And we all know that it was a lot of work, but now we have it and it's working. Now, when I'm listening to my colleagues, and by the way, I was very impressed with Docomo. I mean, I think what Docomo is doing is extraordinary for our industry, and they have so much talent that we're going to tap into that.
Yes.
Very nicely for us. But I'm surprised when I'm coming here and people think Open RAN is difficult. Actually, this is much easier. I've been a vendor for 30 years. The last 10 years I was at Nokia in charge of the mobile industry there. And my job today is much easier. Open Run is much easier because you're not carrying a ton of complexity of legacy and software that is overdue. And when we do integration, I mean, we've done that with you guys, it takes a few weeks. As long as the vendors want to cooperate, it's a few weeks. So I tell you, I mean, as a consumer Open Run, it's much easier than what I hear, much easier.
Thanks, Mark. I wish everybody would just take that and go home with that. That is much easier. Thank you. To Abeta-san, we've heard that Open Run is much easier because of new spectrum, so then greenfield. So Abeta-san, you are not greenfield. Can you tell us your experience and the status of your deployment so far? Abeta-san.
Thank you. First of all, sorry for I cannot join the team person. I'm very happy to join this panel. And so as Tyson already mentioned our 5G status, so we have already deployed the multi-vendor fully interoperable RAM from day one, and that is already nationwide, and so many equipment. That means we supported different frequency band and different type of RU, so high transmission power, lower transmission power, or also that the integrated type according to the deployment scenario. So we can select the best solutions according to the deployment scenario thanks to that open interface. So this is a big advantage of the Open Run. And Mark already mentioned that it's not so hard to introduce the new vendor because it is a clear open interface defined ORAN interface. And regarding that, the brownfield operators, as already Tyson mentioned, we already support interoperability between the 4G and 5G. So we support ENDC, enhanced dual connectivity 4G, FTTH 4G and 5G. So 4G is that our we use the traditional vendors or traditional vendors equipment. But we also define that X interface in 3GPP and some more detail. So information element, we how to use how to interpret the information element. We define the ORAN. So we say that ORAN profiles. So thanks to that 3GPP X interface and ORAN profile, even though the multiple vendor environment, we can support the good performances. So ENDC does work, and we already achieved the peak throughput that more than 4 Gbps, and the flow control between the 4G and 5G does work well. So we have 3 GNB vendor and 2 GNB vendor, but the full mixture network is already works in even the Tokyo metropolitan area, thanks to the open interfaces. So we can install any equipment anywhere in Japan.
Thank you very much. So Mizuno-san, we've heard, at least from numbers, that Fujitsu has deployed thousands and thousands of radios and BBU. So what is the, in terms of equipment, how do you see Open Run as part of your business?
Yes, of course. Currently, our RU currently used by the Dish-san also, and the Docomo-san will currently use our solution RU and this BBU. And also last week we have a press release about the CUDO solutions with also the SMO areas in order to reduce the power consumption more coming.
Right.
So that is the whole of the RAN solution we would like to provide for the open areas.
For the Open Run. Very good. Thank you so much. So Mark and Abeta-san, now we are hearing, we're demystifying that it's only supposed to work for a different spectrum. Now we can do greenfield, brownfield, and I'm also coming up with another one, bluefield. We can also do that now. So what are the challenges that you face as you integrate different components together for your Open Run, Mark?
Well, we talk a lot about the radios. I mean, for us, radios were easy. We had, I must say, we've had tremendous support from Fujitsu. I mean, I've told you many times. Very great partner in ORAN. So radios were easy, they worked. We have two radios. We have a triple band and a dual band, and they are the smallest, the most compact radios in the industry, and very high performance. Now, the next thing we focused on was the platform, because we talk a lot about the radio interface, but actually what is also extremely important is to have a virtualized RAN. Mm-hmm. So, the Kubernetes layer that we've put in place, the accelerators, the Intel. So we worked on that, and I must say that, at the beginning, people were telling us we would have real-time performance issues. It was difficult, and I must say that we've not seen that. We've seen time to have maturity of software, some feature parity, but the real time and the performance came very fast for us, and we are reaching all the peak rates that are supposed to be reached in 5G by theory and 3GPP in the field. I mean, we're doing carrier aggregation, multi-carrier aggregation, we're doing handovers, we have the luxury of having low band spectrum and mid band, and we are doing all sorts of combinations. So I think it takes time, but that was a normal process. Now, the next thing I'm very excited about is the RIC. I think people underestimate. The RIC for me is the most beautiful part of Open RAN, because this is data.
Yes.
Once I have access to data, I have so many dreams about what I can do. Because once you have access to data, you can shape the traffic, the user experience in a way that we never thought of. And I can tell you we have tons of ideas there. It's going to be extraordinary to see all the innovation that will come on top of the RIC.
Excellent. Abeta-san, so from a brownfield deployment point of view, now because you have to mix 4G network with 5G network, now you have to worry about closed RAN with Open RAN. What are the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them? Can you give us some examples?
Yes, Mark said that the interoperability is easy, but honestly, at the beginning, it takes time. But now becomes easy. For example, when we started the interoperability between different vendors is back to 2019. At the time, the specification is just fixed, and some vendor has misunderstanding or misinterpretation. So to achieve that the interoperability between different vendors honestly it takes time, and I worked with Fujitsu even until the midnight, sometimes the main time at the 2019 time frame. But now, when we add the new equipment provided by Fujitsu, for example, it takes a very short time. So specification and stable. I believe that when the other operators introduced that open network, now the specification is stable. So as Mark said, that it's not so difficult now. And between that 4G and 5G, as mentioned, that we support X3 interface. This case that if that vendor supported that ORAN specifications, that it works. We have already tested the different vendors X3 interface, and even that traditional vendor and there are new vendors. So of course that some update for the networks 4G side is necessary, but just for that ORAN specifications is not so difficult, because that we have already achieved that, and we introduced that more than 2,000 genome widths at the end of this March. So it works well. So I believe that 3 years ago it's hard, but now it's not so hard.
All right, thank you very much. So Ronnie, I did not forget about you, by the way.
Don't worry.
So there have been questions about scaling. You hear a lot of myths about, Open RAN, you can only do it here or there. But now, thanks to Dish, thanks to NTT Docomo, we're now being exposed to this is real. It's not just a myth now. So in terms of scaling, you're developing acceleration cards. How do you see scaling with respect to what NVIDIA is doing?
Yeah, so some of you may be a little bit surprised to see a GPU in
in the
network and in the Open RAN systems. So one of the benefits, of course, of a GPU is an accelerated compute platform is it's software defined. So the same GPU that you saw up there from NTT Docomo is used in robotics, is used in artificial intelligence and machine learning in multiple different applications. So our approach is providing flexibility and scalability. We can run high computational data processing like in layer 1 as it's doing here. And at the same time, the area of RIC, I agree with Mark, is very exciting, especially for when you have a GPU in the system.
Okay.
Because there's many things that AI and ML can start to really impact on the amount of data that starts to get collected. And I think whether it be things like RAN management, but also the power efficiency savings, some of the areas of slicing, etc., lend themselves to machine learning. So scalability at the software level becomes kind of a de facto standard for us. I think that's where the benefit of a GPU in the system, hardware in the loop that's completely software defined, and has very much a versatile ability to run signal processing as well as AI machine learning in the RIC, becomes, I think, a scalability multiplier.
Excellent. So Mark, in traditional RAN, you have to figure out where the base station is going to stay, bring all the power. It takes weeks and weeks and months to turn up a base station. With the invention of zero-touch provisioning, how do you see that now helping to scale out how you build a radio access network?
Yeah, so we've been working very hard on zero-touch provisioning. I'm a maniac when it comes to automation.
Yes.
You know that. And so we have it working. So it's not a short process because you have a lot. It's a data center, right? So, but we can. I mean, the base station is coming up and self-discovers the network, routes itself into the cloud, and then we start downloading the drivers, the Kubernetes layers and everything, and the DU software. And we can do it with it's software on demand. So I can put vendor A today, vendor B tomorrow, and I can mix them. I can mix my cell side router and my DU software. Just share the CPUs. At night, I can use my CPUs differently. Wow. So it's so different and so much more fun, and I can bring new software patches all the time. So you know that too. We upload software every day in all our sites, but I can't wait to have accelerators. One of the things we're discovering, which is new to us, is that the amount of data that we are getting back from the fact that we observe everything is huge.
Yes.
So we have to pre-process the data in order to shape the traffic, shape the RF, reshape. We do a lot of machine learning and automatic neighboring, automatic handover calibration, and so forth. But the more we can do locally, the more efficient it is and the cheapest it is. And the good thing about a network is that it's empty most of the time. A network has a peak, but then it does nothing.
Right.
So the nothing can be used with all those techniques we want to do at the edge, right?
Thank you very much. I want to turn to security. So the myth has always been that because it's open interface, it's less secure. So Abeta-san, that's not your experience. You are telling us that because of transparency now in Open RAN, security is actually not an issue. Can you expatiate on that for us?
Thank you. But first, when we talk about security, we should consider not only that the RAN part, but also we should consider that the total solution, considering the different layers such as application layer, transport layer, network layer, and also the physical layer or physical installation or others. But as for that, so security for RAM, so as you know that the architecture and the protocol is same for the traditional or traditional closed RAM or open RAM. So because that is followed by 3GPP architecture and protocol, and so there are no big differences honestly. And we define that the security schemes both 3GPP and also the ORAM. So we support those features already in our networks. And as you mentioned that one of the advantage of that, the open network. So thanks to that the openness or transparency, so there each layer or each vendor's equipment cross-check or detected what issue happen or malicious implementations. So this would be the additional advantage of Open RAM. As cross network is hard to detect it that if that be detected from that others vendors equipment works. So the openness gives us the additional security aspect for us.
Thank you very much. So Ronnie, I'm back to you. As part of your acceleration, you're also introducing security into your platform. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so actually, you mentioned Bluefield. We have a Bluefield DPU on the acceleration card. What that enables us to do is offload at point of use and accelerate certain functions, one of which are security functions, like virtual firewall, like DPI. And it allows for innovation at point of use, fully in line on Ethernet-based traffic. That same DPU is the front haul termination for the 7.2 split for ORAN. So it's right at points of use, and then you don't have to go over a PCI link before you get into layer 1. That's an RDMA link directly into the GPU for layer 1 processing. And what we're going to be doing next is we're actually going to be offloading layer 2, layer 3 from x86 onto ARM cores on that DPU as well, which gives you a secure isolated network card. And then, of course, you have the embedded root of trust, IPsec, MACsec security already in that silicon as well. So it's self-contained, which provides multiple layers of security and the ability to upload and upgrade your security at point of use in line.
Excellent. So we've talked about the adoption, we've talked about security. So Mark, I want to come to integration. There are various ways by which you can actually integrate. You can be a master integrator, you can have system integrators under the master. How are you facing the challenge of system integration?
Yeah, so as you know, we did not ask any system integrator to do any work for us. So we ask our vendors to do the work themselves. And we distribute, so we don't have any labs at Dish. We only have virtual labs, like Docomo was showing. So our vendors have their labs, and we have access to those labs, and they all come back to the network as a global network of testing. So we see everything, we can use everything, and we can move the loads from development to integration to pre-production, production in a virtual manner with full CI/CD. So in terms of integration, it's much faster, and we have a different mindset. I tell my vendors that, and you have heard it many times, the more faults, the happier I am, because faults are there. So I want faults. I want test, but I want a very fast cycle time to correct the faults. And you know, I have that TV in front of my office with all the checks and the automation where everybody sees at the cycle time.
Right.
And it's all about movement and speed, right? So now, everybody in that, you know, the Dell, the Fujitsu, I mean, you guys have labs, the Mavenir, they're all building an end-to-end view.
Right.
And we ask them to own that, right? They can't tell us, I don't understand. And you have been there together, right?
Yes.
So I'm very happy with this. the risk of having an independent system integrator is that they don't have the deep knowledge. In DevOps, you need people to have the deep knowledge. You know, the engineers have to be the integrators, they have to be the testers.
Right.
Otherwise, it's not fast.
Yes.
So it's a different way of working. It's very much like the cloud and DevOps.
Excellent. So for Mizuno-san, so you also have the concept of a shared integration lab where others can come and you can help them to test their components to verify that it's ORAN compliant. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, we have the establishment near MITC in the United States and Texas in order to invite all ecosystem vendors to validate some of the ORAN system so far. So this is great helpful for the accelerated ORAN networking.
Right.
So we also thinking about CI/CD processing there, so that it could be one of the collaboration with the other ecosystem vendors.
Very good. So for NTT Docomo, earlier on we learned a little bit about your lab strategy. Is that something that you can expand on for us, Abeta-san? Am I able to come into your lab? Can I access that lab remotely? Is it accessible to others other than NTT Docomo?
Yes. Yeah, as Tan-san already mentioned that lab is open shared lab. That means that the operators can access to our lab, and they can enjoy or they can test it with our equipment. So Fujitsu software, NVIDIA GPU accelerator, and with the code server, and they can also do that end-to-end test or also do that interoperability test between the different vendors' equipment with the support of Docomo. So I believe that this can significantly reduce the cost because that the operator do not need to have their own lab, so they can use our lab, and they don't need to the skilled staff for the interoperability testing or integrations. So assuring that those resources among the operators, I believe that we can reduce the cost and time, and we can choose more. The operator has more flexibility for the vendor selections.
Excellent.
I love that. We're going to use that lab.
Okay. So now we can cross all those labs.
Thank you. I mean, we're coming.
Amen. That's a lot of innovation that we're seeing. So Ronnie, back to you again. You are a new entrant into this space. This is not something that we would have considered 5 years ago. So for you, what are the top 3 benefits that you are seeing with Open RAN?
So I've been in the industry for a little while, but as an accelerated compute platform company, the benefits are kind of obvious. One is that we can provide innovation platform for the type of things that Mark was talking about on the rig. You know, Open RAN opens up an ecosystem of innovation, and we've found that to be incredibly useful in other verticals, right? We have 2,500 ISVs developing applications on GPUs through CUDA. We expect that there's going to be a lot of innovation now around, say, XApps in the rig and the use of data. So I would say that's by far one of the biggest advantages of opening up these interfaces onto a software-defined platform like a GPU. We also, as we push compute closer to the edge and point of use, we find that now compute in a holistic stack with a software-defined 5G, something that we call AI on 5G, becomes now very much a capability that can be leveraged by multiple use cases. So you have within one server rack the ability to provide AI applications that are growing dramatically, as well as the software-defined 5G and the SLAs that are maintained. So if you want a privilege to maintain 10 milliseconds to an AGV, that can be maintained all the way, and you can have the right policies in place.
Wow.
From the application orchestrated all the way down to 5G. So I know you asked for 3, but I don't want to use up all my time. But I'm just going to give you those 2 because I want those 2 are massive in terms of the opportunity.
Excellent, thank you. So Mark, for you, you're putting up a brand new network. Testing is now almost seamless. You can leverage labs across. What are the additional benefits that you're seeing with Open RAN? What is this helping you to do that from a closed RAN perspective, you are not able to achieve that before?
So I'm not going to give all my secrets, but because we compete, but we have ideas of services that some of us have been dreaming of for the last decade, and we can now we know we can do them, and they can be very disruptive in the consumer and enterprise market in the way of managing mobility and services. So it's just incredible in terms of services. But as an architect, the thing that is very important for me is the data. Once you have the data, you can do so much. You can optimize your spectrum, you can optimize your power, you can optimize your mobility, you can optimize the distribution of your, sense the traffic, yes. And you can serve enterprises in a way that they have no idea of, they've never seen it. But the thing that we start seeing now is that if you don't have automation, forget it.
Yes.
The amount of data and the complexity and the billions, we already have billions of parameters that you need to master. We've tried, our engineers are like playing with it, it goes nowhere. So you have to automate. Now we have the luxury of having a greenfield, so we don't have much traffic, and so we can play, but automation is key on day one, and that's a place to invest. So that's really the software that we need, automation.
Thank you very much. So, Abeta-san, any additional benefits that you can share with the audience in terms of what you're seeing with Open RAN?
Yeah, Rick is at one of the so important features which Mark mentioned that this is of course not only the greenfield operator but also the brownfield operators we can use at the Rick, and especially for that for the introductions that have the plug and play is the key features, and that after that, so optimization of the handover or traffic load balancing or others. So those features, of course, the brownfield can use together with the existing networks. So those features, even though that brownfield we can have that from the open network.
Thank you. So, Mark, I'm back to you again. As we're wrapping up, we're looking at the adoption of Open RAN as something ubiquitous is something that's going to happen, whether we like it or not, over the next 5 years. What are the unique trends that you're seeing that will help that to really optimize it, make it available to small operators, large operators, medium operators? What are some unique trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, so first, there are two reasons why Open RAN, is unstoppable. The first one is silicon. The amount of silicon that is coming in the telco industry, and I was, a builder of base stations in the past, the amount is just surging. We've all the players we have. So once you get addicted to the silicon and the power of it, you just consume it. So it's unstoppable. But the initiatives of people like Docomo and to pre-consume, of Rakuten to pre-consume and test it, are very good.
Yes.
And because it's needed. A lot of operators don't have the patience or the capability to do all this engineering work we've been doing, and they should not, right? Yeah. And they're busy with their existing network. So I'm convinced that now that big players are offering pre-integrated Open RAN, people will start playing with it. And you have big players like the Vodafone, the Orange. These guys are big names. They are going to make it much easier over time, and people will start feeling like we do, like, wow, we're so glad we have it.
Yes.
That it's going to be a no return. Once you touch it, you are addicted.
So Ronnie, you talk about AI. As data comes in, we can predict, we can do much more in terms of intelligence, rake. So for the adoption, what do you see NVIDIA bringing to the table as strength that will help that adoption over the next 5 years?
Yeah, so one thing, so obviously with the public networks, as Mark said, there's so much data that's coming in, and that data is incredibly valuable for network operation optimizations, as well as the ability to provide lower power, etc. One of the other things that I think is going to drive a lot of adoption is enterprise networks. And the enterprise networks, it needs to be IT equipment. the zero-touch provisioning, the ability to configure, self-manage, self-heal the network has to be exactly like you would an IT manager in an enterprise would deal with.
Right.
And that lends itself to a lot of the already edge compute infrastructure management and orchestration partners that are out there today that are delivering that. And AI becomes a much more important part of how that is affected and how you can do that efficiently through single pane of glass. And so it becomes compute infrastructure that's connected through an open interface. The last thing I'd say is that as you look at AI and what we're doing today, we're still in the early days of AI and machine learning. There's a lot of innovation that's coming in AI in prediction, and prediction of network operation, uptime, downtime, use, etc. So it really does become not it becomes something that you can really take your hands off. And that's where AI becomes, I think, very important, because remember, in digital worlds, a lot of this isn't going to be, there's not going to be a person involved. It's going to be completely predictive. You know, when a stadium's going to be full will be predicted.
Yes.
How much data consumption will be predicted. That requires AI.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to help me to thank our guest, Mark. It's a pleasure to see you. Ronnie. Abeta-san, thank you for taking the time. I know it's late where you are, but we appreciate you joining us today, as well as Mizuno-san. Listen, Open RAN is a reality. It's no longer a myth. It's not that, oh, we're wondering, is it going to happen? You've heard from our guest about brownfield, about greenfield, about bluefield, and even if there's a red field, we'll also do it there. So as we go into the future, be excited about the innovation, about new entrants, about openness, about interaction, about interoperability. Fujitsu is very big. We welcome you to talk to many of our guests. If there are things that are not clear in your mind, we will be able to share that with you. So help me to put your hands together and thank our guests. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So I now welcome the CTO of Fujitsu, Vivek, to talk to us a little bit. Okay? So stay on. All right. No, you can. Thank you. Vivek.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. So good morning. I'm here dialing in from Tokyo. I apologize, I'm not inside, but and it would have been pleasure to be there. But thanks for attending our session. And first of all, I'd like to thank all the guests as well, from Docomo, from Dish, from NVIDIA. Both the introductory session by Tani-san as well as the panel discussion was very, very informative, I believe. So today, what I would like to tell you and share with you is Fujitsu's network strategy and where we are headed with our research, with our development, with our overall direction, and how do we intend to I guess, enable your movement towards Open RAN, vRAN, and how Fujitsu can be a trusted partner. My role is the CTO of Fujitsu Worldwide, and as such, I guess have a significant role in what Fujitsu decides to do in its overall technology strategy. So I'd like to start off by just sharing with you, in just one slide, where Fujitsu has an overall purpose on what we want to do is we've reshaped our overall strategy, and our goal is pretty simple: through technical innovation, deliver a sustainable world. So it sounds like pretty, I guess, high sounding, but if you look at and we'll delve down the technology that underpins that. But if you look at what it is we've identified our overall business and where do we want to go with that. So there are 4 key vertical areas we've identified: sustainable manufacturing, consumer experience, healthy living, and trusted society. Is sustained by, underpinned by 3 key horizontal areas, which is digital shifts, business applications, and hybrid IT. Now, if you look at the vertical areas, other than sustainable manufacturing, there's really not what you would call a traditional vertical industry vertical. People often ask me, so you guys are not going to, given our huge presence in the financial space, you guys are not going to be in the financial services business? No, that's not true. We believe financial services underpins each one of these, and these really cut across all industries. So that, in a very brief one slide, is what we are driving as an overall company. Now, if you look at what we looked at, our technology, all the vertical areas and horizontal areas is really about digitization or digitalization of the society and the business environment. So we looked at our overall technology portfolio, and Fujitsu does a lot. A lot of research in different areas, product development, and we said we want to narrow it down, or we want to focus it. So if you keep digitalization at the heart of what we do, it becomes a very simple story. You need massive amounts of data to be processed, and for that, that's computing. You need to transport the data from point A to point B, and that's networks. You need to get intelligence out of the data, that's AI. And you obviously need to make sure that the data is secure. And finally, data is used by human beings at the end of the day, and that's where we call marrying social sciences with technology, what we call converging technologies. I mean, we had a lot of other stuff going on. We kind of defocused that, and our entire business from a technology perspective and a research perspective is now focused on these 5 areas. So if you go to the next slide, this is really the Fujitsu overall technology vision in action. So we've got, and I'll actually start from the bottom. So we've got computing, as I just mentioned. Now, Fujitsu is pretty, we have traditional strength in computing. We make our own processors, which are ARM-based processors. They power the fastest supercomputer in the world, which is the Fugaku. The digital annealer, which I will be talking shortly about. And when a gentleman talked about automation, digital annealer will play a key role. We have, as well as we are doing some really interesting work in quantum computing, both in the software and hardware, as well as quantum inspired and quantum simulation. Next is really, security. We're talking about trust, and really trust as a service, blockchain security, extremely important for us. And we just started a significant research work based in Israel, partnering with Ben Gurion University. AI, our focus is really on AI ethics, explainable AI, and really, AI large-scale simulation. We believe AI, as one of the panel speakers pointed out, it's going to be there everywhere, right? And we want to focus on our strengths, whereas partnering with vendors where it makes sense to partner. And obviously, the key topic for today is network, which we'll target, we'll talk about in detail beginning the next slide. But it's really our focus is ORAN, vRAN, and making sure we want to be the preferred, but we want to be able to enable you to do an end-to-end ORAN, vRAN enablement of your networks. And as I mentioned, converging technologies, which brings us all together, computing, AI, security, network, like digital twins, smarter cities. Got some interesting work going on in a few different countries based on this converging technology space. Okay. So if you look at what we talked about, and we go one layer down in what our network vision is, 5G and beyond. So Fujitsu, as I mentioned, our goal is to enable you to implement a virtualized network which is highly automated and highly secure. It would be, bringing this together from HPC, quantum computing. The gentleman talked about how does computing enable you to deliver, edge computing at the network and bringing AI together. We are doing some interesting work with AI, where we bring our AI work to predict future traffic fluctuations in the network, as well as provisioning. Ensuring that the networks are highly secure. This has been a key discussion. ORAN, VRAN, are the networks secure, and especially when you have multi vendors. And I think Fujitsu we have undertaken some interesting work where both AI doesn't make sense without security, right? You're not going to use any AI which is not secure, and vice versa. Security has got a huge role in making sure that AI is used across the board. So this is exactly what we provision, what we believe is where we want to go with our overall network vision. Next page. So when we look at the 5 key areas we want to focus on in doing our technical work is really the performance. I mean, it's obviously got to be, we are focused on improving the capacity and performance, what the networks deliver to you. It's got to be virtualized. So whatever we do, it's going to be Open RAN network, and it's going to be public cloud compatible. So the VCUs, VDUs, what we will be rolling out, it will be AWS and Microsoft Azure compatible, from day one. Automation. So again, we would be leveraging on our artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities, plus bringing a digital annealer, which is quantum-inspired technology, to optimize the performance. So digital annealer is a tested product, right? And it's being used with different customers, not necessarily in networking space alone. One of the key examples that just came out about last year was the UK Space Agency using it for debris control and optimizing how do you get rid of the debris in space, which is a very difficult problem to solve, which has digital annealer sitting at the heart of it, using and running over AWS. The same technology is what we're going to bring on to drive more automation in the networks. And then efficiency. Fujitsu definitely has a long history in radio units. So extremely highly efficient RF components, dual band RU, triple band RU. So that's all there. And finally, as I talked about, integration and security. Now, this is our focus, and and we absolutely recognize there's a lot of areas, as our esteemed guest from Dish pointed out, right? Different vendors, we all need to work together, and we've been working with NVIDIA, Wind River, and other vendors in ensuring that the customers get a very, open, as well as and have a choice in how they want to implement their RAN. Okay, next page. Our network roadmap really is, this is, I won't delve down into too much detail, but you would see, we already made announcements, VRAN, ORAN stack, it's coming out. We will be announcing our details on what we are coming out with AI and security based for networks. And one thing to keep in mind, which aligns with our purpose, is green. If you look at our RUs, where we probably use most of the power, they are highly power efficient. And that's a focus for us, some things that we've done here in the labs, leveraging this worldwide. The same with what we do with the processor technology, and it does cost us a lot in driving research in this area, but I believe this is very important for us in the long term. And obviously, as I mentioned in the very beginning, the networks are going to be, whatever we do is going to be open and available on all available on public cloud. Primarily, right now, focus has been AWS and Microsoft Azure. Okay. So I want to talk about three areas. One is network automation, where we are investing heavily. I talked about digital annealer, and then AI and ML. We are investing significantly in our AI research. As our guests pointed out, both from Dish and NVIDIA, it's just the beginning of automation. So if you look at monitoring and prediction, handover failure, traffic load increase, call blocking rate, bandwidth, etc. Right? This is all got to get more and more automated. Zero touch, and obviously not just that, but predicting proactively the network behavior. And probably real time, how the proactive response from the network, right? And more importantly, something what you see on the right side, which is quantum-inspired computing. I mean, this is something that we came out, the digital annealer, that we came about 5 or 6 years ago, and this technology has continued to evolve. And this is annealing, right? I mean, when you talk about quantum, you say, hey, is this really available outside labs? But this is annealing. This is not, I would say, pure quantum, but this is digital annealing, and it does is helps optimize different problems. So this is something that we are combining with our AI technology and incorporating that in what we offer to our customers. So this is a key focus area for us. Second is, which is very important in Open RAN, is network security. So I was very heartened to see, our esteemed guest from Dish talk about DevOps, right? So absolutely 200% agree with that. DevOps is key for us, and when you try to bring different environments, right, and each vendor is ensuring that the customer gets what they are wanting from their piece of the puzzle. It's got to be secure based on certain standards. So what we are doing, both for our AI and rest of the vRAN ORAN stack, is security by design, detection of attack and anomaly, any event management. This is something that we are investing from a research perspective, both hardware and software, to ensure this becomes available to you. Now, both in network, in artificial intelligence, we made some announcements. We opened up a significant research center in India, which we'll be ramping up going forward, which is focused on both quantum and AI, and as I mentioned, in Israel on the security side, which we'll be leveraging and combining with what we do with our network business. Next page. And finally, the third thing that I want to talk about, which is absolutely key, is the radio technologies, right? So we talked about the different bandwidths that we support. I believe, leaving my bias aside as the Fujitsu CTO, we deliver probably the leading edge radio technology worldwide, right? And it is extremely green. It's got multi-chip modules, obviously, but we're doing some work on gallium nitride that further would help the efficiency, and then indium phosphide as well. So this is something that we are looking beyond 5G, but this is extremely important. And our goal is compact and low power consumption, because this is going to become more and more important as we move forward. Okay. I won't belabor too much on this, but all I want to tell you, enough has been said about it. We believe that on this slide, we believe that we've made a huge bet on vRAN, ORAN space, and we believe this market is our key strategy. This is going to grow. Most of telcos worldwide would be incorporating this very aggressively if they are not already, and Fujitsu will be right there with the technology, both vRAN, ORAN, very open from and incorporating AI security and RU, cutting edge RU technologies as I just mentioned. The reasons you already know it, no vendor lock-in, which is absolutely key. As I mentioned, we don't intend to provide everything, we just simply can't. So we will partner with whoever would be best suited to drive the customer requirements, but we will drive focus on what we do best, and that's the 5 areas that I mentioned. ORAN, Open RAN drives flexible pipe, which is again fits in right with what we do, both from a computing perspective and a network perspective, and finally the improved quality of experience. So I just wanted to share with you, a couple of area success stories with you. Deutsche Telekom, they're piloting with us on their ORAN expansion. Dish, our esteemed guest today, they selected Fujitsu, obviously, along with other partners, to be part of their journey in 5G. NTT Docomo, today, again, we are a key partner for their journey as well. We are partnering with NTT Docomo to deliver a solution for Korea Telecom, and finally KDDI. So these are just some of the key highlights that I wanted to mention. Again, we are working with a lot of telcos worldwide on this, and sharing with what we can deliver in different parts of the ORAN vRAN space. So one of the key things, and this was brought up in the panel discussion as well. The key concept for ORAN is open, right? Different vendors provide the best of breed, and as the guest from Dish mentioned, that the different parts or the different parts of the puzzle are supplied by different vendors, and it's run in a DevOps environment, which is just really a different way of working. And what we provide, as Mizuno-san pointed out, is really a comprehensive multi-vendor verification lab, which is key. This is based in Dallas. And we invite different vendors to work with us to do a comprehensive end-to-end testing for what the customers would want. I think this is absolutely going to be key, the multi-vendor interoperability as we move forward. Again, I just talked about it, so let's go to the next one, MITC. So I just want to close with just one comment, right? What is our goal? Where are we focused on our research? It's really enable deployment of true Open RAN globally. And when I mentioned true Open RAN, it really, no vendor lock-in, no single vendor controls anything, and contribute to, again, for us as a company, it's important, not just in words, but to demonstrate this through technology leadership, and especially when I talk about, if you look at what we are doing and work with our RUs, as well as other parts of our hardware technology, which are probably the biggest consumers of power and can contribute to a greener space. This is we would like to work continuously in driving that moving forward. That's it. Thank you, and I appreciate your time today.
As we close, Fujitsu is very focused on efficiency and performance, right? We talk about virtualization, automation, and a few other things. I just want to take the time to thank all our partners, the ecosystems that we have put together for making sure that the network works. It works very well. It gives you sustainability. So to NVIDIA, thank you so much. To Dish, to NTT Docomo, to others that we work with around the world, we want to say thank you. And for you, thank you for coming to take the time to take this journey with us. Enjoy the rest of your show. Thank you.